Welcome to my next rebuild, the Atlanta Falcons, using quarterback Desmond Ridder. Now obviously I know when the season actually begins, they will most likely be using quarterback Marcus Mariota to start the year, but we are going to use Desmond Ridder. I have made him a star dev trait. I have made Drake London a superstar dev trait because he was like the first receiver taken, so I feel like it's a realistic thing EA might do. Obviously, the defense here will need some work. The linebackers are pretty low. The safeties are really low. But we have Cam Hayward, who's a 90, but I want to say he's pretty old, right? Yeah, he is 31, so I don't know how much longer he'll stick around. But we do have AJ Terrell, who was an 87 overall star dev trait, only in his second year with this update. And then over on offense, obviously, we have Kyle Pitts, which will be one of the big factors we are building around. And to best simulate Calvin Ridley's year of suspension, I have lowered his speed a little bit down to a 54, and I lowered his awareness to 1. I believe they were at 93 and 80. I took a picture with my phone, so I'll know what to put them back at after this year, but I'm trying to keep him from getting any stats this year to simulate his year of suspension. But now with that out of the way, let's jump to the mid-season point and see where we stand. Okay, we're doing pretty good. As of right now, we are 5-1. We have the 5th ranked offense and the number 1 ranked defense. All right, this rebuild may not take too long. But now we will jump to the end of the season and see if we end up winning the division, because this division is very competitive, and see if we can go to the playoffs in year 1. We don't end up winning the division. It looks like the Baker Mayfield-led Panthers win it at 13-4, but we still finished 11-6 and get into the playoffs. Desmond Ridder finishes with 5,300 yards, pretty solid as a rookie, 44 touchdowns, 19 interceptions. On the ground, Cordero Patterson runs for 900 yards and 11 touchdowns, but Damian Williams runs in for 14. Receiving, Drake London 119 catches for 1,600 yards and 11 touchdowns. Bryan Edwards also caught 11. Kyle Pitts only caught 4, but I did not expect Drake London to have that kind of season. Rashaan Evans led the team in tackles with 109 in sacks. Grady Jarrett got 7.5 and interceptions. I don't want to try to say your name, but it says you're a rookie, and you got 3 interceptions, and Isaiah Oliver got 3 interceptions. What about AJ Terrell and our starting corner? I guess they got none. All right. Ridder ends up leading the league in yards with 5,300, in touchdowns with 44, and interceptions goes to Zach Wilson with 25. So not only did we have the league leader in passing yards and touchdowns, we also had the league leader in receptions with 119 and in yards, but not in touchdowns. That goes to Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, and Mike Gesicki. We come into the playoffs with the number 1 ranked offense and the number 17th ranked defense. Okay, so we're going to need to improve the defense a bit, but the offense seems to be doing okay. But now we can simulate round 1 of the playoffs in the wildcard round and see if we can win a playoff game here in season 1 of this rebuild. And we win in the wildcard round 34-27 over Seattle. And here is the rest of the playoff bracket if you wanted to see that. Obviously, you can see our next opponent is the Dallas Cowboys. And that is where season 1 will end. A loss to Dallas 28-21. Here is the rest of the playoffs, and we will simulate to the Super Bowl. And the Dallas Cowboys win the first Super Bowl in this rebuild, but Desmond Ridder does win Offensive Rookie of the Year. We also got the Defensive Rookie of the Year. And after the first season, we get an upgrade to Superstar depth trait for Desmond Ridder, and Drake London is an X Factor and an 87 overall going into his second year. And next season, we will get Calvin Ridley back. And we pretty much have nobody to re-sign here in the re-signing period, so we will just let all 3 of these guys go. The only player I'm signing in free agency here is Doug Costin, because there's not really anyone else available that is going to be able to help us immediately, or anyone young enough to really build up in a position of need. And we are now here at the NFL draft. The Lions have the number 1 pick. We have pick 26, so we will jump right there and figure out if we are going to trade it or actually use it. This is probably a pretty boring pick, but I'm going to take left guard Robbie Sawyer here in the first round. He is a normal dev trade, kind of disappointing, but we'll see how good he is after the draft. And with our second round pick, we actually have 2 of them at least. We have pick 18 and 26 here. We're going to take Rudy Irving, and he is also a normal dev trade. And with our second round pick, I'm going to take Emmanuel Alexander, another normal dev trade. He was the fastest running back in his class though. Here in the third round, this will be the last pick that I make. If you've never watched any of my rebuilds, the way I do it is I pick the first 3 rounds and then I let the computer draft the last 4 rounds, just because it's kind of a crapshoot anyway. And yes, I just signed Doug Costin, but Dwayne Buckner here in the 3rd round, the talent says he's a round 1 to 2 pick. He's 100% scouted. We're going to take him. He is a hidden dev trait, so I will probably start him over Doug Costin, honestly. All right, I did not draft well. A 67 overall safety and a 68 overall running back in the 2nd round. That is not a strong draft class. Dwayne Buckner is a 72 that I took in the 3rd round, and here's how the CPU did. They didn't do much better than me. So alright, this is not a tremendous draft class for us. But now going into Season 2, here is our starting offense. We do have Calvin Ridley back. He's an 87 overall again. His year of suspension is done, and then I have made Buckner the starting defensive tackle, so we will get to figure out his depth trade as soon as possible. Well, this time we are not 5-1, we are 4-3. We have the 17th ranked offense and the 25th ranked defense. Okay, so some stuff has changed this year. So now I'm jumping to the end of the season to see if we can manage to make the playoffs again, or if we can turn it around and somehow win the division. We do manage to make the playoffs again. This time we are 9-8. We come in with the 22nd ranked offense and the 16th ranked defense. Ritter does not have an amazing season again. He has a pretty good one. 4,400 yards, 31 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. On the ground, Cordero Patterson did not even hit 700 yards. We will probably look to move on from him. And through the air, London caught 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns, and Calvin Ridley in his return year, 879 yards and 6 touchdowns. Rashaan Evans and Deion Jones both get 122 tackles. For sacks, he got 6. I don't want to try to say his name and completely butcher it. And Isaiah Oliver with 5 interceptions. But now let's see if we can win a playoff game here in Season 2. And we take out the 2-seed Packers 31-28, and our next opponent is the 15-2 Dallas Cowboys. So I saw that we had one new injury after that game, and it looks like Kyle Pitts has a broken wrist and will miss the rest of the year. So I think that's going to make this run a little bit harder. But even with no Kyle Pitts, we take out Dallas 28-27, so we move on to the NFC Championship, where we will take on the Carolina Panthers. And we've added 2 more injuries to that. Casey Hayward and Jake Matthews are now both out for this game. But we fall in the NFC Championship game 34-17, so the Super Bowl is between Carolina and Cincinnati. And Baker Mayfield and the Carolina Panthers win the Super Bowl 28-21. So we had a couple decent names here in this re-signing period. Chris Lindstrom is coming back, an 86 overall guard. Grady Jarrett, we're going to let hit free agency. He refused our contract. We'll see if we can bring him back or if we can upgrade. Isaiah Oliver is coming back. He's led our team in picks the last couple years. And then here are some other people I've re-signed, and Calvin Ridley got a big contract. And here are the free agents I'm bringing in this time. Kareem Hunt to be our starting running back. Greedy Williams to play the slot and maybe eventually take over Cam Hayward's job since he is 33. I may even trade Hayward during the draft here. Derek Barnett to be a starting right end as of right now. Zach Ertz to be a backup tight end, and Forrest Lamp to be a backup guard. And I have made this trade with the Los Angeles Rams. We are sending Cordero Patterson and Casey Hayward to the Rams in exchange for a 2nd and a 3rd round pick this year. And we are here at the 2nd draft here in this rebuild, and we have picked 29. The Washington Commanders are picking 1, but we will just jump right to our pick. And for the 2nd straight year, I'm going to take a guard in the 1st round. I know that sounds like a horrible idea, but there's really no defense left here at the bottom of the 1st round. And another normal depth trade. I promise one of these times I will get a hidden depth trade in the 1st round. And with our first 2nd round pick, I'm going to take Carl Bradley out of Syracuse. We know he has a power move, a normal depth trait, which kind of sucks. I was hoping for a hidden. And with our 2nd pick in the 2nd round, I'm going to take free safety Demarius Carroll, and he has a hidden depth trait. I'm sorry, a normal depth trait. I keep wanting a hidden. And I'm going to take another guard here because eventually we're going to hit on one, and another normal depth trait. That was probably a dumb pick, but we'll see how good he is. And then here at the end of the 3rd round, I'm going to take left end Kevin Watkins out of Florida, and we officially pick only normal depth trait. I am not drafting well in this rebuild. So I did not get any hidden depth traits, but at least Demarius Carroll is a 72 overall, but this pick was horrible in the 3rd round. Jumping into Season 3, Desmond Ritter is an 82 overall superstar depth trait. Kareem Hunt is our new starting running back. Drake London is a 92 overall X Factor. Calvin Ridley is an 88 overall with a star depth trait, and Brian Edwards is now an 82. On the defensive side, it looks like Deion Jones is now a superstar depth trait. I'm not sure if he was one before, but Buckner, the defensive tackle we took in like the 3rd round, is a superstar depth trait, so we at least have that getting built up now. And this time at the midway point, we are once again 5-1, but we are tied with the Buccaneers for the division lead. We have the 13th ranked offense and the 7th ranked defense, so now let's go to the end of the season and figure out where we stand. And we finished the season 14-3 and get the 1 seed. The Buccaneers completely fell apart. They were 5-1 and now they are 9-8. Ritter with another 5,000 yard season. He did it his rookie year. Now he's done it again. 44 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. On the ground, Kareem Hunt, 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. And it looks like the backup had 8 rushing touchdowns. Receiving, Drake London, 1,400 yards, but only 4 touchdowns. Leading the team in touchdowns was Kyle Pitts with 12, and Brian Edwards got 11. Deion Jones led the team in tackles with 115. Sacks, Dwayne Buckner got 8. And interceptions, Deion Jones got 4. And it looks like 44 touchdown passes was enough to lead the league for Desmond Ritter. And after the wildcard round, here is the entire playoff bracket. It looks like our first opponent is the Philadelphia Eagles. And we are back in the conference championship game as we take down the Eagles 24-17, and we will take on the Arizona Cardinals. But for the second year in a row, it will end in the conference championship round. We lose to Arizona 21-7, and the Super Bowl will be between Cleveland and Arizona. And Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals win the Super Bowl 31-23. This time we had a few expensive players to re-sign. Drake London, Deion Jones, Rashaan Evans. I do want to try to bring back Koo. Let's see if he will just take this offer. And he is going to test free agency. But we also bring back Jake Matthews, Brian Edwards, Matt Hennessy. I am not going to bring back Doug Costin. And I don't think I brought back anyone else because they either rejected or I didn't want to bring them back. So this time I spent a little bit of money in free agency. We're bringing in Khalil Mack, Von Miller, and Jadeveon Clowney, and Jimmy Ward. So our defense should be a lot better this year, and I'm really hoping getting these older players on like 1-year rentals pays off. And we are here at the next draft. We have the 30th pick in the draft. And with the 30th pick, I'm looking at Brendan Barnett, a right outside linebacker out of Florida. And let's see what we know about him. B awareness, B impact block. I still don't know why that's a thing that even shows up for this. A stamina, B tackle, and B zone coverage. Let's take him, and we finally get a hidden dev trait in the first round. And here at the end of the second round, I'm going to take strong safety Malik Fields out of Kansas State, and he is also a hidden dev trait with 91 speed. I don't know much about this kid. He has B power move and B tackle, but at the end of the third round, we're going to take defensive end Terrell Smith out of Oklahoma. He is a normal dev trait. This is definitely the best draft class I pulled off here. A 74 overall and a 73 overall, both with hidden dev traits, and then past that we really didn't do much, but at least I hit in the first 2 rounds. And going into season 4, Desmond Ritter is now an X-Factor quarterback along with Drake London. It looks like the CPU managed to take 2 players with hidden dev traits as well, just later in the draft. And the defense to me looks a lot better. Obviously we have the hidden dev traits that will not be starting over the guys that I signed, but we should be a pretty good team this year, and hopefully we can finally get out of the conference championship round. And at week 8, we are 7-0. We have the number 5 offense in the league and the number 8 defense. Carolina has the number 6 in both of those, so they are also a very, very good team. But now we will go to the end of the season. It'd be really cool if we could hold on to that undefeated record. I highly doubt it though, but let's figure out where we finish. We don't finish undefeated, but we do finish 13-4, but that apparently does not win the division. The Panthers win the division at 13-4, and are they the 1 seed in the playoffs? No, they're actually the 2 seed. Dallas finished even better. And this season, Ritter throws for 4,900 yards, 43 touchdowns, and 13 picks. On the ground, Kareem Hunt had 15 touchdowns, and through the air, we had 2 1,000-yard receivers, Drake London and Brian Edwards. But Edwards leads the team with 14 touchdowns. And Deion Jones leads the team in tackles again, followed by Rashaan Evans. What about sacks? That goes to Khalil Mack and Von Miller, who both got 14.5, and interceptions, AJ Terrell got 4. And we are headed into the playoffs as the 8th ranked offense and the number 1 ranked defense. So let's hope we can go on a run here. And we absolutely destroy the Rams 51-15. So we advance in the playoffs, and we will get to take on the Carolina Panthers, who won their first game 30-24. And for the 3rd straight year, we are headed to the conference championship as we take down Atlanta 34-9, and we will be taking on the Minnesota Vikings. And a 3rd blowout in a row here in the playoffs. We take down Minnesota 37-8 to advance to the Super Bowl, where we will take on the Cincinnati Bengals. But sadly, we do not win the Super Bowl. We lose 21-23 as Joe Burrow and the Bengals get their first Super Bowl as a franchise. This re-signing period was a little bit interesting. AJ Terrell has been franchise tagged. Khalil Mack and Von Miller are both not interested in coming back. I'm not going to offer Jimmy Ward. We did bring back our left outside linebacker, and everyone else I am letting walk here. So hopefully we can build together another good team and get back to the Super Bowl, because next season is the last one in this rebuild. And here are my signings for the last free agency in this rebuild. We are bringing in Trey Hendrickson, Khalil Mack is coming back, Von Miller's coming back, Eddie Jackson, Jake Matthews, and Lonnie Johnson Jr. And the Steelers have the first pick in this draft, but we will jump to our pick and figure out who we are going to take with pick 31. I don't think any of these guys are going to be immediate help for this year anyway, but I'm going to take Peter Boykin here at the end of the first round, a corner out of UCLA. And he is a hidden depth trait with 93 speed. He had B man coverage as his grade. And here at the end of the second, I think I'm going to take Nick Cox, a backup tight end out of Texas, and he is going to be a normal depth trait. And here's another player I don't know too much about. We're going to take this left end. He's probably going to back up the other two ends that I signed, but he is also a hidden depth trait. Okay, so my second and third round picks weren't great. He's still a hidden depth trait, but he is a 69 overall. But this corner is a 74 that we took at the end of the first round, so I still feel like that's a pretty solid pick. And as we get ready to jump into our final season here of this rebuild, here's the final starting offense. We have turned Desmond Ridder into an X-Factor quarterback. Drake London is an X-Factor. It looks like Lawson, a receiver that the computer took in like one of the later rounds, is a superstar depth trait, so obviously that's huge. Over on the defensive side, we've changed a lot. Hendrickson and Von Miller are the starting edge rushers. Buckner is our starting defensive tackle. And Malik Fields is a superstar depth trait, which is the main reason I let Jimmy Ward walk and did not sign one of the top strong safeties available. But I think we built a pretty solid defense here, and I'm excited to see what this team can do. Well, we're not undefeated, but we are 5-1. We have the 24th ranked offense and the 9th ranked defense. What about points per game? Okay, in points per game, we're number 4. That's a lot better. I think that's kind of skewed because some teams have had their bye week and some haven't. But now I'm jumping to the playoffs in our final season of this rebuild. So far, I think we've made the playoffs every year. But let's see if we're going to get back to a Super Bowl and actually win it this time. And we finished the season 15-2. Apparently, we are $2 million over the cap. Don't really know what kind of repercussions that's going to bring, but we are 15-2 and the 1 seed. For the third time in this rebuild, Ridder goes over 5,000 yards, 46 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. Kareem Hunt with 13 rushing touchdowns, and Emmanuel Alexander with 8. Receiving, Drake London 1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns, and Kyle Pitts 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns. Deion Jones leads the team in tackles, just like I think he has every time, and sacks goes to Khalil Mack with 8, and interceptions, Deion Jones grabbed 4. And 46 passing touchdowns was enough to lead the league for Desmond Ridder. And here's how the first round of the playoffs went. As you can tell, we are taking on the Arizona Cardinals. And for the 4th straight season, we are headed to the conference championship game. We take down Arizona 38-7. And for the 2nd season in a row, we will take on the Minnesota Vikings. And for the 2nd straight year, we blow out Minnesota in the conference championship round as we win this time 35-7. And we will take on the Las Vegas Raiders in the Super Bowl. And here we are at the end of this rebuild. We have 1 game left. Do we finally capture a Super Bowl? No, we can't. We lose 45-10 in the last Super Bowl of this rebuild. Well, that will wrap up this rebuild. We got Kyle Pitts to a 99. We got Drake London to a 99. Desmond Ritter's a 97. We just could not win the Super Bowl. Bryan Edwards is even a 91. We built a really, really good team here. We just could not win a Super Bowl. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this rebuild. The Falcons were a lot of fun to use. I did not expect to be that good that fast. Obviously, we make it to 2 Super Bowls, lose both of them. I will attempt the Falcons again, probably in Madden 23, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys next time.